doing this. So next time when I'm presented with this situation, I need to do better. Now that's the intentionality that comes
Consciousness.
with being disciplined, and that's why, for me, for some reasons, I have found the foundation to why I will
doing
have
the
to
right thing.
keep doing the right thing at the end of the day.
Innocent. You're staring into space. What do you have to say about all of this?
So the thing is this: the reason why a lot of people do not subscribe to the subject of discipline is because, you see, what makes a person stay consistent in a particular activity or belief system is the revelation or mindset behind that
That thing.
activity.
Okay.
You see, when a person does not understand, or a person has not been exposed to the reason why they ought to be disciplined and the profit that comes out of being disciplined, they would see it as a waste of time. You see that. For example, early in my life, my parents, the upbringing I had, they taught us discipline. I come from a very responsible family. You see, they would teach us how to be disciplined, how to be responsible. And I would find myself in, let's say, the schools where I attended and all of that. Maybe I would see people who would drink a sachet water and then
throw
throw
it.
it. When I see such a thing, I would feel it would trouble me so much. I would feel like going to pick it up.
Sure.
If there is no waste bin around, I'll put it in my bag until I find a waste bin and then throw it inside. Now, why was I able to do that? A lot of people wouldn't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
But there was something I was taught. I was given an understanding right from my young age that is not profitable. Sometimes I'll go out, buy something, eat, and maybe there is no waste bin
It's
around.
in your bag till you get
I'll
back
put it in
home.
my bag till I get home. And someone else, maybe a classmate or anybody who sees me doing such a thing, will call me foolish, or would say, what is this one doing? Are you okay? You see, but for me, it's different. And what begins to happen is two things. You begin to stand out
Exactly.
in society. Can I tell you this? Whatever you do, whether you know it or not, there is someone watching you somewhere,
Exactly.
and there is someone being influenced by your
What you're
actions.
doing.
So whatever it is you are doing, there is someone watching, there is someone learning from it. So if you're doing something positive, someone is being positively influenced. If you're doing something negative, someone is negatively being influenced. So the first thing that happens when you have discipline and you keep being disciplined and you keep going on that path is that you begin to stand out. In an organization, when everybody is doing the same thing, so everybody is being careless, most people are being careless, and there is someone who is meticulous, who is very serious about discipline, doing the right thing always, with time. It doesn't happen immediately, but with time and gradually this person begins to stand out. And you would see that the person is not particularly doing anything so extra or doing anything to bring favor his way or her way. But the person is just on their own way, doing the right thing. And gradually you are attracting the right people into your life. That is one. Two, you begin to influence people on a large scale.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example. One time that I and my brother, we were journeying to a particular location, and so we got to a traffic light, and everybody was just beating the traffic light. There were no officers around to regulate that. So everybody, and at the point we got to the place, we saw the traffic light and we stopped. Immediately we stopped. As other cars started coming, they started stopping. There was no officer around, but they started stopping. That means someone who has discipline, with time, you become a leader. You become a force that influences others for good. You see? So let me use this opportunity to encourage people. Don't see it as, because most people do things to impress others. Most people do things not out of revelation, not out of understanding, but just in a bid to follow every other person and do what they are doing.
Eye service sometimes.
You see, but that is not right. do what is right, be disciplined, and as you gradually, as you keep doing that over time, people start buying into the idea, because these things pay. Like you were saying, over time you would see the profitability of being disciplined. You were talking about people who, while in school, they were just living a life that is not wonderful, and some people paid attention to classes, studied their books, were of good behavior, you see. And now, unfortunately, some of the people that thought they were too big for teachers, lecturers, would fight lecturers and all of that, you see, with words, with arrogant behaviors. Currently, some of them are still in school, while their mates have graduated 5 years later. So, from the two of us, who is the fool? You see that now. So, being disciplined, it's profitable, even in finances, in family, in marriage, in whatever area you find yourself. Being disciplined is very profitable.
Says the person who didn't want to host.
Exactly.
But anyways,
it still goes on to show what we were talking about. See how he's now flowing very, very well.
Stop
But if
running.
we asked him to sit on Martha's chair now, it
he said
will.
no.
Calling is
Yeah.
calling is calling.
But
the area where you are good at, stay there and do what you are supposed to.
all right. So basically, when he was giving his submissions about discipline, it brought my attention to one thing. Actually, everybody has, especially with the illustration about stopping at a traffic light, and then people embracing the same. Everybody has a piece of good news in him. Nobody have a monopoly to discipline or whatever it is. However, we all have something called consciousness. Our consciousness have just not been awoken to the things that we need to do in order to be disciplined. And that's why I was talking about intentionality. Because until you awaken that thing, what they saw was just a reminder, right, that propped them. But because that reminder didn't come from core within, it was just something superficial, something that they had just seen and then thought about, because they have not really instilled it to their core, right? It might just be temporary, right? Because they saw someone. They might get somewhere else, and if you decided to beat the traffic for some reasons, they wouldn't have stopped too. They would have, because you were leading them. And that's why it's important that you intentionally awaken your consciousness. And we've been talking about core values, we've been talking about, but then we need to understand how to also imbibe it. On a quick maybe submission, a minute or two, I would like to say that it's actually quite easy to awaken your consciousness. A lot of people do not even understand what their core values are. Yes, we are talking about the national ethics and values, but you should understand that in order to fit into this category, then you have to believe in it, right? And believing in it comes from an emotional place, how it makes you feel. So I need everybody listening and every Nigerian to understand that in order to know why this is important, then think about a society where people are disrespectful to maybe other people, right? When you cannot stand, just imagine being disrespected. When you cannot stand that disrespect, then it tells you one thing, that it's important to be respectful,
Of course.
right? And respect should be one of your core values, because you can't stand it. How else do you expect another person to stand it? And if you like noun, you can tie it to maybe even dignity of labor. If you do not respect somebody's profession, then how do you expect them
Another
to
person
to respect it? And then you can also tie it to the Constitution, right? And the chapter 2, section 23 that we are always pouncing on, right? If you do not respect the Constitution, which is a binding law and rule to our nation, how do you then expect even your leaders to respect you? because they do not see the reasons why they should respect you in the first place as a Nigerian, as a citizen. Because the organ that you need to even understand and imbibe, that thing, you're not even behaving as a Nigerian first and foremost. Only God knows which land you are from. Maybe it's the Bermuda Triangle, right? But as a Nigerian, we have told you that this is what you need to be. This is who you ought to be.
Disciplined.
Before a disciplined citizen, right, who recognizes this arm of the Constitution, right? And that's why I said understanding is foremost. Understand the arm of the Constitution and also imbibe it, right? So one thing that would have to come to play is you having that dark moment, that moment in your dark time of reflection, and think about the things that you cannot stand. No sane human being would actually go contrary to some of these values, right? Because all we need in our lives is positivity, and nobody actually wants to run away from what is good. Everybody wants goodness in his life. So even check out the people who are doing bad. Nobody wants bad to befall
come
him,
back to them.
right? Nobody wants that to befall them. So if you check it outrightly, you'd see that in there are your core values. All you haven't done is awaken your consciousness to them. So you have to reflect and then tie your emotions to it. Try to have an understanding of what not imbibing the core values will do to you
Consequence to
and
you.
the neighbors or your fellow brothers and sisters who are also Nigerians.
As well. So you said something I wanted to comment on quickly
Yeah.
before I forget. You talked about believing in the core values first before you are able to obey them.
Yeah.
Now, for discipline, remember that a person who doesn't have personal discipline cannot even have it on a large scale. You
Indeed.
know, as a person, there are certain things you should set down, values, principles that you should live by. If you've successfully been able to live by these principles that you set for yourself, then it's easier for you to do it on a larger scale. So what does the government say? Because it starts from, what do I want? What are the principles that guide my life? What are the values that I've put in place to ensure that I live a guided life? What does my family require of me? What are the principles of my family? Because you hear people say things like, we don't do this where I'm from.
Yeah.
You know, that's family discipline.
Yeah.
There are certain things you can vouch for some people because of where they come from.
Yeah.
You can say people from this place or someone from this family
Yeah.
will most likely not be found doing things like this.
Indeed.
We all know where we're from. So there are certain things you would say, oh, this person did it. And someone who knows that person very well says, no, this person, where they're from the family where they come from, none of them, they don't do things like this.
Yeah.
So this discipline, it even helps people to be able to vouch for you. When you are a disciplined person. And like Innocent said, people see. But the thing about people who consistently do the right thing is, because the gratification does not come as early as those who do the wrong thing, they think that it doesn't count. But see the thing here. The people who do the wrong things, they get the gratification early, but it doesn't last.
Yeah.
But the people who do the right thing, the gratification is delayed, but it will stand the test of time.
Exactly.
So you have to understand what you want.
Yeah.
You have to understand where you're headed.
Yeah.
So if I want, it's just like, let's use multi-level marketing. They come and tell you to put money in MMM. You should do this. Some of us, we put our entire life savings in that scheme. You know, we lost a lot of money because we wanted to make quick returns. But think about a person who said, instead of taking this route, right, let me invest it in this business. There are lots of businesses that can give you 5 to 10%. Some can even give you 3%, and it's a very substantial percentage for you. And if you look at what you'll be earning at the end of the year, you'd know that you have invested, you have done very, like, so for MMM, in days you've cashed out, or in hours you cash out. But in investments like this, I don't want to call brands now, but in investments like this, you put it takes 1 year for you to get the return on your investment. But the thing is that as long as you are subscribed to that form of investment, you will always get the money. So for MMM or all those marketing, you get the money and it's a one-off. But investments, they take time, but they last for a long period.
Indeed.
So this is when anytime you find yourself being discouraged about doing the right thing, because a lot of times, especially where we are at now, it's difficult. The situations are very difficult. People, just this morning we had conversations where, there's one particular, there's an elderly man who calls here separately and almost literally in tears, talking about how difficult the situation now is. It's difficult now, even more difficult to tell someone not to steal from where they work. It's difficult to tell someone not to cheat now, because they have every reason to cheat because of the environment. Yeah. But this is where discipline comes in. Because I have the opportunity to steal doesn't mean I should steal, because it's not the right thing. This is discipline. Whether anybody is looking or not, whether the condition is favorable or not, discipline is discipline. And it means that we must do the right thing at all times.
Indeed,
so,
actually.
I guess we'll go on a very short break. Let's play a few songs, and when we get back, we'll keep up this conversation. Please do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
We play those songs.
The good tunes just don't stop.
The good tunes just don't stop.
Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja.
Don't stop.
The good tunes just don't stop.
Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja.
Okay, Martha said I should tell Innocent to say welcome back.
No. That's not the flow. You just say welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. There's no harm.
But then, okay, since Innocent doesn't want to tell you people welcome back, I value my audience. So welcome back, everyone, and
very
thanks
good
for staying with us. It's been an amazing conversation on discipline. If you've been listening, I'm sure there was one or two things to learn, because the conversation has been really everything but short of enlightening. So this conversation would keep on, and I hope we get to learn one or two things more. Innocent, to be disciplined, please. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So yes, Kamal has said it, and has been nothing short of amazing, and we've learned a couple of things from here. I have learned, and I'm sure they too have picked a thing or two. But the most important thing is we hope that you listening there also understand the point of this conversation. Not to say that we are all perfect as regards the area of discipline, but we are a work in progress. Indeed. We recognize that Kamal said something. He said, there are times when I know that I've been indisciplined. But the thing is, acknowledging the fact that you just did something that is wrong and deciding not to do it again, that's where the change starts from. A lot of us, you see, when you beat the traffic once, you do it 2 times, you do it 3 times, there's something that happens to you. You start losing your conscience. I'm serious. You start losing your sense of responsibility as regards that. So it starts becoming normal, one after the other. Before you know it, it has become a lifestyle. Even the way people talk, there's a particular, scandal going on online. And the way the person that is involved is talking, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me this person is a disciplined person. Because if you are disciplined, you are disciplined with your words as well. Your words will not destroy another person's character. Your words will not hurt another person. A disciplined person is conscious of what they're saying part time, not because anybody is going to beat them. Remember, you have your mouth. So I can't control mine, but I can't control you. I can't force you to control yours, because again, it's self-control, not others' control. But as a disciplined person, whether someone tells you how to speak or not, you know that it's your responsibility to speak rightly. Maybe a lot of us have followed that conversation online, and I was personally disappointed. And the most painful thing is how we come and generalize all of these things, and we now make it a Nigerian thing. Nigerian girls are like that. Nigerian boys are like that. And we are on a global platform where people can just pick this information and use it to judge you tomorrow when you go out there. Oh, it's a Nigerian girl. Oh, it automatically means that she's gold digging. Oh, is that a Nigerian girl? Nigerian guy. It automatically means that he's irresponsible and all of that. So we're careful with how we speak, how we even type online. I remember one time, I've used this example here a couple of times. There's this guy during the COVID era or something. He went to a particular bank and he was trying to get a transaction done. It was very frustrating, which we know with our banks these days, you know. And he tweeted something very offensive, like, if that's the last bank on earth, he would rather die than have his money there. Post-COVID, he went to that bank he applied for a job. He passed. They kept letting him scale through until he got to the point of the interview. And they're like, this is your tweet from how many years ago? What do you have to say about this now? You see, at the point of frustration, you can lose your guard and now speak anyhow, type anyhow, do anything anyhow. But again, I'll take it back to what Innocent said. People see, people hear, and people observe you. You see, some of the things you say and do are things that might come back to hurt you eventually. So that's why you need to be careful. So if you need a reason, if you need a reason as to why you should be disciplined with your words, here's your reason to be as well.
So yeah, I actually think a lot of people take gratification as just material gain and cheap recognitions, actually, because they aren't brewed strong enough. Look at it. For the best things that we have in life, wine, it takes a long time for it to get processed and get to where it is. Same as every mineral resources that is deposited on earth, not to mention a lot of other things that are the same way. Oftentimes they come out beautiful, and that is what we sought after, more than the artificial things or the things that appear just fairy that are beautiful. So it just tells us one thing, and that's what I want to tell Nigerians too. Your character or your gratification shouldn't only be determined by riches, by wealth, by cheap gains. That's not what it's all about. It goes beyond just those temporal things. In fact, it garners more weight. If you check some of the greatest men on earth, what made them great wasn't about how much they had in their accounts or what they possessed, but in the impact that they made and how sustainable they made their societies to be. This is what true champions are all about. This is what self-worth and being disciplined and being strong in your core values are all about.
Okay.
Now, so I would want to speak about one of the things that I believe is a core benefit of being disciplined. Because, like I said one of the times, that Nigeria is not just the leaders. Nigeria is not just a geographical location. Nigeria is you and I. Nigeria is me who is talking, and you, our dear listeners. You see, so if one of the benefits of discipline is what we call prestige and recognition of a society or a country or a system. What brings out or what makes a platform or a country or a nation or a culture or a system is the strength of their laws and the degree to which it is followed and adhered to. If we have laws, if we have rules and regulations, if we have a mode of operation, and these things are not being followed, then our systems are not strong enough. Then we cannot portray Nigeria to the globe as a prestigious country or a country that can be given global recognition. You see, so it starts from you and I doing the bit we can within the place where we are. For example, getting to a bank to make deposits. For example, there is a queue, and something in your head tells you that you can simply jump that queue and go for you to be attended to specially. To why is that the case? But if you are disciplined, you know that, okay, I came by so time. It is true that I'm late. If I wanted to be the first in the queue, I should come earlier. But because I'm here, there are consequences to being at the bank by this time. So therefore, I simply join the queue. You see, when we start doing that, because most times we do complain that the reason why the country is bad is our leaders. But unfortunately, the truth is that it is not just our leaders. For our leaders to carry out the wrongs which they carry out, they need people in the masses. They need normal citizens like you and I to be able to carry out the bad things they want to carry out. For example, respectfully, you see. So if, let's say, you and I, we have decided in our hearts of hearts that we are going to stay disciplined, we will not take bribe, we will not do any of these things that are wrong and are not things that uphold or make our country prestigious. You see that some of these leaders, their wings will be broken because there is nobody they can partner with to carry out the evil they want to carry out.
Yeah. So, yes, because we're available, again, I agree. It's the reason that these things can move forward. Thank you so much, Innocent, partial host. And thank you, Kamal, for these amazing conversations. This happens every Wednesday here in the studio from 12 noon to 1 p.m. Every Wednesday here, the talks about the national ethics and the core values. Please make it a date every time. And if you have friends and family and children that you think, that you should bring up these conversations with, and you're finding it difficult, please tune in here every Wednesday, and we'll be right here having these conversations every other time. And then you can catch up with our episodes across all our social media platforms. On YouTube, it is at Eagles FM Abuja, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, which is now X, and TikTok. You can catch up with us at Eagles FM Abuja, and we'll be more than ready to connect with you. The next hour, amazing.